service. What's up, podcast listeners? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Full Service Podcast. I'm your host, Tank Smith. It's Tuesday. We're back once again. It's episode 6. Fuck yes. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. Thanks for being here. And if you've been with us for a couple weeks, perhaps even been with us since the beginning, since conception, thanks for being here. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't yet, give us a follow on social media. We're on Twitter and Instagram at Full Service Pod. At Full Service Pod. My personal Twitter and Instagram, if y'all feel like giving it a follow, at Tank Funkadelic. But no, I think right to the podcast. Let us know how we're doing. Last week's episode was on how to book an escort. I spoke to a couple people. There's some positive feedback, but I'm sure not everybody felt like that. So if you didn't like the podcast, if you feel any way about the podcast, write in. I want to know who's checking it out. So write in the podcast. Let me know what's up. But if you're listening right now, fucking appreciate it. This is episode 6. Like I mentioned last week, I got an interview today. Alexis Reynolds. I'm so excited for this interview. I filmed this, I think, at either the end of August or beginning of September. So it was a little while ago. But this is still one of my favorite interviews that I've done. Alexis has worked as an escort for the past 10 years. She's been a cover model. She's been a centerfold in a nationally ranked fetish lifestyle magazine. She's done live BDSM shows, burlesque, dance. Like, her resume is that's fucking impressive. But no, her Twitter is at YourGFAlexisR. Go give her a fucking follow on Twitter. Her Instagram, it's Model Jordan Sin on Instagram, and I'll link both her Twitter and Instagram in our Libsyn page, as well as her link to her website. So yeah, go check it out. This is my interview with Alexis Reynolds. Thanks. We are back once again. I'm lucky today. This is gonna be a great interview. I have Alexis Reynolds here with me today. Thanks for being on the podcast.
Oh my God, thanks for having me. I'm so stoked to be here.
Awesome, heck yeah. We are in Atlanta once again. I know you're here for a couple days. You do anything good while you're here?
I mean, I'm supposed to not be cheating. I'm supposed to be eating clean, but I really want to go to the Varsity and get some chili cheese fries.
Nice.
If I don't, I kind of want to catch a show at St. James Live.
Okay.
I really love the jazz and R&B shows.
Where's that?
I don't know the exact address, but it's a gorgeous venue. They have a red carpet you can take photos on.
No shit.
Bottle service and everything.
Nice.
It's a little more of a classy, elegant date place. But
okay.
There's a lot of comedy in the house, so you can really let loose and
fuck yeah,
dance and laugh.
You said St. James Live.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, I think you'll love it.
Is it better than the Varsity?
It's a totally different vibe. The food is really good, so I'll say either way, I'm gonna eat.
Fuck yeah, we're eating. We're eating either way.
But the entertainment value on either end is good.
Okay. You'll still get good entertainment at the Varsity.
So, yeah.
Let's go outside.
It's good stuff.
I love the Varsity though. That's my spot.
That comfort food though. I mean, I think chili cheese is my love language.
Yeah. Fuck a gift. I just want some chili cheese fries.
Chili cheese on something.
Yeah, heck yeah. Well, thanks for being on the podcast. I know where you based? I know you're not based out of Atlanta. Where are you based out of? Where are you?
I'm closer to Augusta. I actually moved to Aiken, South Carolina, which is where I was born and raised. Just to get away from all the noise and everything. I used to live in Columbia, South Carolina, but I travel about 2 or 3 days a week to a major city.
Oh, sweet.
Whether I'm doing a Fly Me To You or just on a random tour. So when I go home, I want it quiet.
Yeah.
So it's definitely quiet. It's country.
What Aiken? How many people is it? It's like a rural. Is it a rural place?
It used to be, and we got voted the top small town in the U.S. top small town in the South.
Really?
But we have a lot of people coming from New York and California and stuff now.
Okay.
Just they've all migrated, so who knows how many people we have now. It's overcrowded, and
Oh, shit.
they're starting to come to blows because there's not enough room for everyone.
Really?
They brought their own drama.
Northerners, what are you doing coming down south? We don't want you.
They don't like us.
Man, so you were like, I guess you're a transplant, so you're like you're one of the ones that's
Oh no, I was born there and I
Oh,
just
shit.
decided to come back.
Oh shit,
So
nice.
now I'm watching all these people move.
Oh god, so you're like,
Europe
get out of
and the north and the west, and they're all coming here and they're like, we don't like all these guns. We're gonna cull the deer with like snipers and bows and arrows. And they're like, this is not okay. And we're
Really?
like, we've been doing this
Yeah.
since before you guys got here. So
They run
welcome
out
to
in
South.
the road. You got to do something
Yeehaw.
about these fucking deer. God damn.
You wanted a horse farm with no deer, but this is how you get rid of the deer.
Yeah, you gotta shoot the deer. And,
Sometimes it happens.
oh boy.
It's gonna get rowdy.
Fuck yeah, Aiken, South Carolina. What's I know you said you travel a bunch. What's your favorite city to go to? You think?
In the U.S., Charleston. For
Charleston.
Sure. Love Charleston.
I went once. I went on the USS Yorktown when I was a kid.
It's so hot and like sweaty and stuffy in there.
Yeah.
But it was cool. It was a really cool tour. I like the carriage tours because it's open air.
Nice.
But I also love horses, which is why I live in Aiken.
See, the carriage tour. Those are nice. Those are just, but I can't afford.
You learn a
those.
lot. Each one is different, so you learn a different part of like the history.
Oh, okay, just like
It's
all
nice.
over. I'm a double decker bus tour guy.
Oh yeah, I like
That's
those
me.
too.
Oh, yeah.
But now they have like streetcars and stuff down there, and I mean, when it's not coming a hurricane, it's really nice to go down there. And
Yeah, my mom
eat
was
the food.
supposed to go down to Charleston this weekend for a wedding, but
It's beautiful.
that's not going to happen, I guess.
The bad timing.
Hurricane
Bad
Dorian
wedding timing.
is upon us.
Well, it floods there anyway.
Oh, in
even if
Charleston?
it's just raining. So,
Oh, okay.
I mean, when you've got a city that old and the architecture and stuff, like it's hard to keep up.
Yeah, it's one of the oldest cities on the East Coast. Yeah.
Oh yeah, a lot of ghosts.
I know Savannah's a ghost city too.
I want to
It's-
do more ghost stuff in Savannah.
Yeah.
that
Wilmington
would be
also.
really fun.
Wilmington also. Because I lived in Raleigh, so I used to go down to Wilmington. That's the coast of North Carolina. That's another like haunted city.
Ugh, love haunted places.
Yeah. There's so much fun. I just like history, so I'm like, oh, somebody.
I just like to scream. Just like to run around in the dark and scream.
And they're like, is this a ghost tour? What's going? That lady. Let's
That
somebody
lady's
get
just
her under
acting like
control.
she's on a roller coaster. She's just having a good time.
Yeah, damn. If you like haunted cities, if you hate haunted, subscribe to the podcast. Hey, we got to do that plug pretty early in the podcast, always. What about abroad? What's your favorite? Do you have a favorite city abroad?
It's a toss-up for me between, so far, the places I've been. I have some cool places marked, but Barcelona, because it reminds me of Charleston, nice wide streets, and
Nice.
friendly people, beaches, warm weather, hotties.
There's a book, Shadow of the Wind, that takes place in Barcelona. You gotta check
Oh,
that out.
I need to read
Oh
that.
my
I love to
God.
read, so
It's like in the
that's on-
1940s.
It needs to add to my list. But yeah, I love Amsterdam too. for the
Amsterdam.
Obvious
Nice.
reasons.
I've always wanted to go. I've never been.
Oh, it's a great place to lose your mind and probably some of your dignity.
Some of your gotta keep a little bit, but most of it's gone.
But
Most
it's
of it's in Amsterdam.
contained within districts and hours. So
How did you go to
have-
the red light district while you were
I
there?
did. It was great.
What was that like?
I got to see a sex show with one of my best friends, and we got to spin on the stripper pole when it was done. They invited us to before the fire marshal kicked us all out.
Is that
because
like
it was ending.
is that like what happens at the end? Like at every show they just spit on the pole, or how's that?
No, it was just there, and they saw me looking at it with that look in my eye, and they're like, "Do you want to take a spin?" And I was like,
Oh, spin!
absolutely, yes,
okay,
a spin."
I thought you said spit.
Spit, ew.
I'm like
no.
at the end of every show they
No.
spit on the strip. What the? I never been to. Okay,
Oh,
a spit.
no.
Okay, Jesus Christ. Okay, we're good now. Fuck yeah.
I
Okay,
took it for a whirl.
nice.
It was nice. But yeah, I loved the different windows and the different sections of town. You can pretty much find whatever you're looking for. There's like, the windows with the BBW category, and
Okay.
then the tall, svelte girls, the plastic girls.
And they're just kind of like dancing in the
Some
window.
of them are dancing, some of them are just making faces or, adjusting their lingerie, their bikinis. Some of them are putting on their makeup. Some of them are on their cell phones. But if you get too close, they'll pull you in.
They'll pull you in?
They'll drag you in.
And like, can you gotta pay, or how's it?
I mean, you have to pay within the first few seconds you're in there, but
Or else you're out.
they'll give you a quote.
That's pretty interesting. That's awesome.
I thought it was really cool. I was like, how much to rent one of these booths so I can work in there? I just like the attention of all the people walking by, taking pictures and staring.
It's like, hey, was anyone just like waving and nobody's looking, just like, hey?
Yeah, but that girl crossed her arms and was just like, no. She's like, stop being dumb. I was in love like 50 times as I walked by.
Damn. Did you talk to? Did you go in at all?
No, they're mostly into men. They don't want women or couples.
Really?
Generally. Even during the sex show, the woman was like, I need a male volunteer, men only.
Okay.
So I guess
were they jealous once you got on the pole? Once you?
No, everyone had cleared out. So
oh, okay.
It was cool.
Oh, nice.
I had just finished my drink and we were alone in there, so it was fine.
Yeah, it's like, hey.
Yeah.
Nice.
Why not? I'm just happy to have the invite.
Yeah. Cool. Amsterdam, Barcelona, hell yeah. What's some other spots you've been? That's.
Well, I've been to Zurich. I've been all over the Caribbean. I've been to Mexico a couple of times. I've been to Canada. I'm going to the south of France next.
Sweet.
It's gonna be nice. I have a friend who lives there, and I love her very much. So if this works out, then I'm gonna stay at her place longer in the spring, so we can have more time together.
That'll be cool.
But yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
I went to
taking
France
a train from Paris. It's gonna be nice.
I went to France in high school. It was a good time.
I don't love French food, and I'm very bad at speaking the language, but I'm going to give it my best shot.
I really just said pardon a lot because I was like 16,
right?
So I was just like, pardon.
That's me everywhere.
Cheese, whatever that word is. It was a lot of that. But that was cool.
I'm going to be the most quiet I think I've ever been.
Yeah,
I'm going to sip wine and let my friend do all the talking.
That'll be nice though.
Oh yeah, it's October, but I think the weather will still be nice. It's gonna be on like the French Riviera. So
oh man,
I think it'll still be very.
How long are you going for?
12 days this time. Next time I think I'll stay a month or more. I wanted to spend the summer, but with everything going on, it just didn't work out. Yeah. So I was like, maybe another time.
That's cool.
I need to focus.
That's I wish I could do that. That'd be nice.
You can come with me.
I gotta. Oh, you heard it here, folks. I'm coming.
On,
I accepted. I'm going to France. Guys,
Podcast abroad.
I'm going to France. Yes, it's official. Full service. Thank you. Heck yeah, awesome. Thanks for coming on the podcast again.
Thank you for having me. You're so awesome.
Yeah, I looked at your website. Your resume is amazing on your.
Oh,
it's amazing. So I'm looking here: musical videography, cover model. You've been a centerfold in a Fetish Lifestyle magazine, live beauty, burlesque. That's escort. That's incredible.
I have tried to have my hand in a little bit of everything. Until someone tells me no, you can't do that. I'm gonna do it.
You're gonna do it.
I'm gonna give it a go. I wanted to just try every facet of the adult entertainment underworld that I could get my hands on.
What do you think your favorite has been so far? Or can you put a favorite on?
There's so many. I love it all, but I really love performing.
Okay.
I love events. I love to go. I love burlesque. I'm trying to get more into fire shows.
Okay.
It's really hard to get permits in the U.S. to do fire performances, but...
Is that like fire spinning, or what kind of fire?
Yeah, fire dancing, the fans, and, the crown that's lit and everything like that.
I don't think I've only seen like the fires, like where you got like a rope and then I guess two ends.
I'm not brave enough to spin the ropes. It's got to be something close to my body. Something small that I can control.
Okay.
I'm not much of a baton twirler or anything like that.
That'd be kind of...
That would be dope.
That's intense.
But that's not me. I'm not that coordinated. I can pretend I'm coordinated for about a minute and a half at a time.
That's what I do with stand-up. I pretend that I'm pretty good for like 10 minutes, and then I'm like, that's enough.
Run away.
Any more than that, they're like, get off
I'm
the
like,
stage.
don't look at me.
Awesome.
But thank you. Thank you for researching me and knowing these things about me. Most people don't know that I've done all these things.
Yeah, no, that's
I forget sometimes myself.
Yeah, it's an impressive resume. You got to put in. I feel like you got to put in work to like achieve all like.
Well, a lot of it's winging it for me. It's like if somebody needs a stand-in, they're like, "Here, you have about a minute to learn this new skill. Either do it or don't." I'm like, I love pressure. I love being put on the spot. So when they put me on stage, it's go or don't,
What do
just
you,
do or die.
what's the most people you think you done performance in front of?
Maybe 2,000.
Really?
That's not a lot in comparison, but I mean, some of the fetish events that I went to, it got pretty packed in there. They were all sold out. So.
Really? Is this like in a stadium?
It was
2,000 people is
very
a lot.
large venues in North Carolina and Charlotte.
Okay.
But yeah, I was part of a fetish performance group, and they would just go ahead and rent out the biggest place they could, and they would sell the tickets in tiers, so
Okay.
I would know beforehand if it was sold out or not. But I wasn't the main act, so I was never worried.
Okay.
I was just sort of a small part here or there.
But I mean, that's still like
It was a
that's
little
impressive.
nerve-wracking,
That's
a little bit, yeah.
2,000.
When they put you on a platform, on a box, like in a cage or something to go, and you're just looking at all these people under you, and you're not wearing much other than maybe like, a little bit of floss. You're like, well, let's hope that I don't fall, make a fool of myself.
Yeah,
I never did, luckily.
yeah.
Knock on wood. So far.
But I mean, I feel like even if you fall, they're gonna be like, that's still pretty cool.
One time I fell off the pole while I was stripping out of the ceiling, and people just balled up dollars and threw them at me and sort of laughed, and no one checked to see if I was okay. It knocked the wind right out of me.
Fuck, what happened? Like,
But I got up and I brushed it off. I went to the back of the stage and shook it off, and then I came back, and people were so drunk they didn't even realize what had happened. And maybe 3 people remembered that I fell out of the ceiling.
like, she might have a broken neck. Somebody.
It looked bad from like where I was thinking that people had seen it, but it was such a packed night that hardly anyone looked up.
Oh, wow.
So much going on, and much better dancers on other stages doing crazy pole tricks. So I tried.
That's.
It happens. Dollar drink night is not your friend.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh no. I never did that again.
It's my friend, but it's definitely not other people's. Jesus Christ.
Not if you're trying to flip upside down.
No.
Big stilettos. Just, maybe don't.
Sounds dangerous.
Maybe don't drink 10 royal flushes and try it.
Sounds like a recipe for disaster. I know.
That's just who I am as a person.
Let's just see what happens.
I'm a little chaotic.
It'll be fun. I saw your turtles tweet yesterday. I had to just tell this. Just you saved some turtles.
I did
crossing
save some
the street.
turtles. They were small turtles, but I've saved bigger ones. These are little box turtles.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to make up for all the straws I've used. I only have like 10 million more turtles to save. I'm doing my best.
So I was as a kid, I love turtles. Like, fucking
Me too.
Ninja Turtles. I was a huge fan.
The live action Ninja Turtle was my jam.
That Franklin the Turtle, I think. So I fucking love turtles. And so I remember when I was in elementary school, my mom just recently told me this story. I guess I had like forgotten about it. We're riding in my mom's driving. It's me and my little sister. We're in elementary school, and my mom I think she runs over a turtle in the car, right?
Oh no.
And me and my sister start freaking the fuck out. We're like, oh my God, we gotta go see if the turtle's okay. We're still do that. We're so distraught, right? So my mom she's like, okay, fine, I'll go back and I'll see if the turtle's okay. So she drives back to where she thinks she might have hit this turtle, right? And then she slows down, and we're looking out the window, and then my mom runs over the turtle again.
Oh no! Oh my God! No! Oh, that's the saddest.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like that would happen to me. It's like, I'm helping. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I mean well, but there are some times when it's like, oh man, I'm not doing so good. That's why I had to make sure when I saved these, I was pointing them in the correct direction, and I was actually not interrupting them so they don't go right back into the road.
It's hard out there, turtle. If you're a turtle out there,
them, do something. But don't get yourself run over in the process.
Yeah.
There are some people who might try to jump out of the car with oncoming traffic. I've had to think about it a couple of times.
If you're a turtle and you're listening to this podcast right now, how is that possible? But hey, get the fuck out of the street.
We support you though.
We support you 100%. But get out of the street. It's dangerous out there. There's big cars and that aren't your friends. Heck yeah. Well, yeah, let's I know we just went over that stuff. That's fucking goddamn, that's impressive. How long have you been escorting? How long have you been doing that?
Technically since February 2009.
Since February 2009?
It's gonna be 11 years next February.
Sweet. That's
It's a while. People think I haven't been at it this long because I'm baby faced and I don't look as old as I am. I
Yeah.
don't act as old as I am, but I've been around a while.
When you kind of like when you started, how'd you get into it? How'd you first find out what escorting was, or?
Well, technically, if we want to go with that story, the first time I ever heard the word escort or had to figure out what an escort was, my aunt moved into a new house outside of Augusta, and I mean, at least 10 times a day, guys would call looking for the escort service because her phone number used to be the phone number of an
Really?
escort service, a very popular one. So my dad would cut up jokes and he would actually put on the Sling Blade voice and be like, "Hey, it's an escort service," like over and over. And like
Oh
they
my
made
God.
jokes for so many years about
Hey,
this.
boy.
Yes, and that's kind of how they would call. And she finally got her number changed, but I had to figure out what an escort was. So, I mean, at the time, we had just gotten a family computer, and I, of course, looked it up. And
Yeah.
boy, did I get an eyeful. It wasn't as popular as the search would be now, but I mean, I learned at maybe 11 years old, maybe 12, what an escort was. But I didn't actually get involved in it until after my first or second year of dancing. I met a lot of really interesting and cool people, but I guess I sugared for a little while first.
Okay.
So I had a regular that would come in and he bought me iPods and cell phones and
Nice.
took me to Champagne every time he would come. And so one day he was like, "Okay, well, instead of giving the club $1,000 every
Yeah.
time I come in here, why don't I just pay you when we go to dinner?" And I thought about it and I was like, technically I could lose my job for that, but also it's the recession and I'm not making anything.
Yeah.
So why not? So I was like, if I can do this, maybe I can do more.
Yeah.
And I kind of put the idea out of my mind for a little while. I was engaged at the time, so I eventually broke up with my fiance, and I had just gotten a boob job, and I decided to go into it full time, and I had no idea what I was doing.
Where'd you like? Did you have to advertise at the beginning? Did you advertise anywhere? Like, how'd you get to
Yes.
kind of get the word out?
Well, I met a kind of sketchy guy who wanted to be a pimp, I guess, but he told me, he was like, "I have a modeling gig for you," because I had been modeling and I had been doing shows, and I was like, "Okay," and he's like, "Well, you have to come to my house and we have to take some photos."
Yeah.
And then he told me what it really was.
And once you got there, or before?
Yes, and he had a boost phone and was posting Craigslist ads and was sending girls out. They would answer the phones and he would send them out to addresses, and
Oh,
he was
shit.
supposed to be their security. But I was like, I don't think this is for me. And he's like, "Well, just try it and see if you like it." And I was feeling adventurous. I was going through a breakup. New me, who dis?
Yeah.
So I was like, I got a fresh haircut. I'm
We've all
feeling like a
been there.
bad bitch. I'm gonna go for it. What's the worst that could happen? Hindsight,
Yeah.
anything. But once I saw how easy that was, I mean, it wasn't easy, but for him collecting these girls' money,
Yeah.
I was just like, why would I want to be managed by someone else?
Yeah, that's-
I've always been very.
And he was taking like how much?
He was taking half of their money.
Just because
for-
he's
for
like,
every
I have the
call.
clientele base,
Because he
and
provided the phone, he placed the ads, he was supposed to be their security, but he didn't drive them or do anything. He was just sitting on his ass collecting money. And I later on met other management types that were very cool guys.
yeah.
We played Mario Kart. I'd hang out at their house, and those girls kind of took advantage of these guys, but they were very honest and very nice when I asked them questions. But yeah, I was just like, I don't want a manager. I never wanted a manager. That's
Yeah.
why I started being a stripper and like booking my own gigs for modeling and stuff. I was just like, why do that when I can do my own?
Just be 100% independent. And
Yeah,
run
so
your own business.
I went and got a boost phone. I posted my own ads, and I just went from there.
That's when
Hardcore.
that's
All
What-
in.
that's what you gotta go all in. I feel like
I
once.
feel like that's what I always do. I'm either just all in or I won't even accept the idea of something.
Nice.
But I did it.
Before you started, did you have any like preconceived notions of what escorting was, or?
Well,
do you
I
have any
had seen a couple of scandals that had broken in the news, the Heidi Fleiss thing, and
Oh,
then
was
there
that
was
that
like
New
a
York
couple of
madam?
New York agencies that had gotten busted. And when I read these articles, they were saying that these women were making what seemed like a lot of money then, but thinking back on it, it's like for New York and stuff, I was like, that was average money. Like,
Yeah.
that's what an average girl would make, or maybe they make even more than that. But people were outraged that women were making like 500 an hour. Like, how dare they? And so I was just like, this is interesting.
Yeah.
This is cool. But I was just like, wow, you
Because
know.
I mean, if you just market yourself, I mean, you can charge whatever. I mean,
Yeah, but they were telling about, like I think Rent Boy or Rent a Gent or whatever had gone down too, and they'd been busted, and then there was the Ashley Madison thing. So I'd been seeing stories like this for a while, and it was interesting. But that encouraged me to want to climb.
yeah.
I didn't want to stay where I was. I was like, it looked very glamorous. They were talking about, high profile clients and dinner dates and overnights and trips to the Maldives and
I mean, that sounds pretty. I would.
Cartier
I'd like
and
that.
all of that. And so I was just like, so there's hope. Maybe. I was comfortable where I was.
Okay.
But I was like, I could always do better. I could
Definitely.
always, get photo shoots and, market myself. And I'm smart.
Because everybody, you always want to get like. Keep
I was always
evolving.
climbing. I'm always playing Frogger. I'm always trying to get to the next best thing. Trying to hop across.
Yeah.
And I was like, I guess maybe I'm never fully satisfied. But I'm comfortable. And
Yeah.
I'll stay put for a little while. And then I'm hopping on to the next thing.
Comfortable is nice, but also it's like.
I'm kind of an overachiever sometimes.
When you like I know you, the longer you do something, the better you get at it. Do you feel like at the beginning were there times where you like weren't that good at it, or you always? I always ask this question. Were you like I was when I started stand ups, I was terrible at the beginning. Then you do something and you're like, I'm getting better, a little slowly but surely.
When I first started dancing, a couple of customers pulled me aside and they were like, you have no rhythm. Like, none. And we kind of feel sorry for you. But you're trying. You're so enthusiastic and you want to be here.
Did you dance before? Like, do you have like kind of like a history of dance before you started dancing?
I did go-go a little bit at like, gay bars and things like that. And I mean, one time someone put a 20 in my pants and I thought, hey, I could do this as a job maybe. So that inspired that, but those people were drunk and just being nice.
Yeah.
And I mean, I just eventually learned to listen to the music and it got better from there. But with escorting, I went through a bad time, I guess, with my personal life, and my mental health wasn't good from like 19 to 21. So after about like my first year or so, I was blowing clients off. I was being flaky. I mean, I didn't know how to screen at all. I still didn't know. And so eventually I did learn. I met a friend in the industry finally who had gone out to LA and done some video shoots, porn and things like that. And she was like, so do you screen? And I was like, well, screen what?
Yeah.
And she was like, oh my God, you're going to die.
Yeah.
And that's when it hit me. I was like, I have no clue what I'm doing. And that's why I'm floundering so much. I was overbooking myself. I was just wilding out, just doing whatever, whenever.
Because I feel like there has to be a lot of admin with it. Cause
I didn't do any of that.
People are hitting you up constantly.
Didn't do anything. I just had my Boost phone, and I was answering my phone calls whenever I felt like it. And sometimes I'd stand people up and blow them off, and I wasn't serious about it. I was just having a good time, being a young girl.
When do you think that changed, like, where you're like, I'm going to be serious, and I'm going to...
I think when I turned 22, I finally met a couple of other local girls in the business, and we're still friends now, and they kind of grounded me, told me how they did things. They had a more professional demeanor.
Okay.
And they were just like, do you want to be professional or not? Do you want to be a pro ho or do you want to just goof around?
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to turn this into my lifestyle. I don't just want to get freaky and get the money. Like, I really want to develop relationships and be good at this. This is what I want to do.
Fuck yeah.
This is what I'm passionate about. So after that, I'd already been pretty well known, but I really established myself as a good provider.
Nice. And so what time frame do you think that is? Like, I guess like 2011, 2012.
Yeah.
Okay.
I started in 2008, 2009 with any of it, but yeah, I think by 2012 I was really grounded.
What do you think your biggest like challenge was at the like starting out?
Not being sure who was going to be serious and who was going to be violent or anything. I didn't know anything. I was just
Yeah.
fumbling around in the dark.
Just go like.
So posting ads was really hard, especially in Charlotte and places like that, because you could bump your ad and it was constantly going like ads on ads on ads on
Yeah.
ads. You'd never get to the top. And
I'll see
I was
that.
just
There's
like,
still like websites
oh,
like
yeah.
Skip the Games. They'll just boom, 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 and it's like Jesus.
Tons of weird symbols and emojis, and I guess they would be emojis now,
Yeah.
but it was just like all these girls with these specials, and like they were just hitting it like crazy, and I was like, it's hard to travel and like make any kind of mark here. So
Were you always like when you started? Is that in like South, like in Colombia? Is
in
that
Colombia, yes.
okay? And are you traveling at that point, or is it mainly everything's happening in Colombia?
I would travel to Charlotte on occasion, and I would dance there, but I would also try to make appointments. But there was no pre-planning on that at all. There was no announcing anything. There was no social media for it.
Yeah.
There was no, I mean, I would just get a room somewhere, post as many ads as I could on Craigslist, Backpage, wherever I could find, and keep my phone on and hope for the best.
That's yeah.
Sometimes I would get someone. Sometimes it was a lot of games, a lot of, back and forth. Sometimes it was just,
But I mean, I
I
feel
couldn't
like
get the word out pretty much.
I feel like if you go into something blind, or if you don't know, like, how are you supposed to know what to do without kind of like talking to somebody?
That's what finally happened.
Yeah.
People finally found me, and I started making friends and being able to share, and they would share, and we would kind of bounce ideas back and forth about how things were really going. Because back then it was really tight-lipped. Anybody who was actually professional and doing well, like established, those girls were not giving up their secrets.
Really?
At all. And it's not that they were like, mean or catty or anything. They just wouldn't have anything to do with you.
That
It
makes
was their
sense.
business. It was their paper, and they were quiet.
Yeah.
They were not giving it up. So
That's smart though.
it is. It's very smart. And I know a lot of girls now who are considered very high-end, very successful, and they're like, no mentorships. And I don't have time to mentor anyone. And
Really?
I would not give out advice. And I still have to respect that because, they've earned their place, and
Yeah.
it's their time. They can do what they want with it. Maybe they don't want to waste it on a newbie.
I wonder who made it to the top though without getting literally any advice from anybody.
I don't
Do you think-
know. I guess it would have to be maybe some Vegas girls or brothel girls. I did work in the Bunny Ranch for a little
Really?
while. Yeah.
Nice.
So I guess, with all of that, I mean, even then they still had to go through, group meetings and sitting down and game planning and what not to do and what to do as far as, like keep things tight on the vest. Like, don't give out all your secrets. Don't tell anybody else your rates. It's competitive.
Oh,
things like that.
Because not everybody at the ranch is the same rate, so it's like.
But they could be introduced to people who are, very high-end, very wealthy, or, just rubbing elbows with the
Yeah.
right people, and they give them a lot of opportunities to be on, like, Howard Stern and,
Oh,
Penthouse and Hustler and things like that. So, I mean, once you do that or you do some Playboy Mansion parties or something, like, you're in.
Shit.
You don't really have to advertise. You speak for yourself, basically.
That's awesome.
You get a trainer when you sign up, and
Really?
if you're willing to do that and whatever food they're feeding you.
You have your own trainer?
They give you a trainer. They have a trainer on staff. And I'm pretty sure Playboy does too. That was my first original track that I wanted. I was a Hooters waitress.
Okay.
And I was thinking, hey, if I stick with this, I can do the calendars. I can eventually get, plastic surgery and things like that.
Did you ever do the calendars?
I didn't stick with it long enough. I decided that I wanted to get tattoos and go the other direction. You can't have tattoos.
You can't have tattoos for Hooters?
Nope.
Or
For Hooters or Playboy.
Really?
So
For Playboy
I was
either?
like, I had to decide at some point.
Yeah.
I think I was 19 when I finally had to tell myself, like, you can do cars and bikes, or you can do, flights and mansion parties. Like, what are you going to do?
Cars and bikes it is.
It was cars and bikes and rock shows.
Fuck yeah.
I did the same thing with cheerleading. I actually dropped out of cheerleading because it coincided with a concert that my parents let me go to.
Really?
And it was a rock show, and I was like, this is important.
What show was it?
It's a rock band from Finland that I really like.
Okay.
So that was my first show. I was supposed to see Chevelle, but my dad wasn't feeling well and didn't feel like taking me, so he's like, I will trade you. You can miss this show and have any show you want
Oh, damn.
later.
Damn.
And so when it finally happened, I screamed and I ran and I was like, I need these tickets now. And you let me go, but it was the same day as a big cheerleading thing, and I was like, I can be cut from the squad or
Go to this concert.
go to this concert. And I was front row for that concert, and I didn't have any regrets. So
Nice. That's
I make my own choices.
Sometimes you gotta do that.
Yep. Everyone has a different path.
Just how often are you going to get that opportunity?
Hardly ever, and it's still one of the best days of my life. It was still one of the best concerts I've ever been to.
That's awesome.
And they stopped touring not too long ago.
Shit.
So.
First concert I ever went to was fucking 311.
Oh yeah, I've seen them a few times.
Yeah.
It's always a good time. You
At
seem
Lakewood.
like that kind of guy.
Fucking Lakewood. It was a good time.
Oh yeah.
It was like 311 and Pepper. Wow.
That sounds awesome.
It's fucking high school.
Righteous.
That was the first time I fucking remember just like... I was
Clouds
like,
of weed smoke.
Yeah. Because I was like, how is this happening right now?
Oh yeah.
And then I smoked like a joint with like a fucking like 60-something-year-old white dude. And I was like...
That's going to happen at
as a black youth smoking weed with an old white dude,
Everyone
anything is
love everyone.
fucking possible in this world.
Oh yeah. That's what gives you hope. I mean, and concerts are a totally different vibe than the real world. It's
Yeah.
like people will be sharing their water with you.
People
and
just connected.
sharing their weed and dancing, and everyone loves everyone just for that little bit of time.
Yeah.
So all is right with the world.
It's a good couple hours though.
Mhm.
And yeah. when you started, were you able to tell anybody kind of close to you?
My parents busted me out probably the first month I started stripping. So
Really?
they found a way to the club, found their way there, and they were in the club. I was on stage, and I felt weird. I felt like someone was watching me, but not in that way. And I spotted them in the back. And so I'm in nothing but like a G-string and knee-high boots, and I jump off the stage, and I run up to them, and I'm like, what are you doing in here? Like, titties out. Just, what are you doing?
Okay.
And they were like, we just wanted to make sure you were safe and that, you had good security.
That's really nice.
And I was like, I'm fine. But I lied to them, and I told them I was a waitress at Ruby Tuesday. And they knew better because I had my own apartment and stuff. So after that, I just never told them any more lies. And so if I'm going somewhere, I mean, I told them when I was going out to the Bunny Ranch. I told them for every shoot that I had. When I go out on Fly Me To Yous and stuff, I call my parents and let them know where I'm going. Because I would rather them know than hear it on the news. Because I had several friends pass away, and their parents only knew because it was brought up in the news later on that they were a dancer or they were an escort or something like that. And I was like, no, my parents are gonna know everything about me. Did you
feel like before they knew, did you feel like it created a distance between you guys, having to lie or not tell them what you were doing?
It was awkward, but I never pegged them to put two and two together with that.
Okay.
So when they showed up, it was totally random, but I guess word had gotten out. I think someone from high school might have ratted me out who came up there and saw me.
And the people at the club didn't know they were your parents. They were just like, these are just two people.
But I was like, I'm getting dressed and we're going to go to Waffle House and talk about this because we need to. But ever since then, I've just been very open, very honest. And I mean, my whole family knows. I don't keep anyone around me that doesn't know. And I've had several people in the industry try to blackmail me by calling my mom. And I'm like, really? You're calling my mom?
Like, people that work in the industry?
Yes.
Trying to
they will call my mom. My mom will laugh at them and be like, I've been known.
Yeah.
And then cuss them up one side and down the other and tell them to, like, go get some class.
That's fucked up.
And my mom and my grandma are my, like, biggest fans.
Nice.
So, I mean, my parents have the magazines that I'm in. Like,
nice.
They know when I'm gonna, like, do something pretty cool for me. Like, they know when I'm doing shows and things like that.
I feel like just having that support is...
They don't understand, but they know what makes me happy.
Yeah.
And they were like, you've lived several lifetimes in one, and, like, you're living your best life, so keep doing it. And as long as I'm safe and I'm looking out for myself, they're happy for me.
Yeah. I know, like, they're always going to care about your safety. You know?
Oh, yeah.
That's
but that was the biggest thing. I was like, my parents have never shamed me for anything, even growing up, anything weird or odd that I might say or want to do. They never told me that it was wrong or that I couldn't. They would just say, I mean, make an informed decision.
That's
Even with my tattoos. I know my dad didn't talk to me for several days after I had my first one. He thought it was henna and he could, like, wipe it off.
Yeah.
And when he knew it was real, he got really upset and, like, hid in his room for a while. But after that, I was like, I've brought girls home, I brought guys home, I've gotten tattoos, I've told them all of my business because I'm just like, whether you want to know or not, I don't want you to hear it from someone else.
Yeah.
So that's just how I am with my partners or with my parents, my grandparents, everyone.
My parents are super, I want, like, the tattoo thing, my parents are super against tattoos. and like I got a tattoo. Like I got it's on my finger right here.
Oh,
They don't know about it yet.
oh boy, they're gonna know now if they hear your podcast.
they're gonna. Hey, what's up, parents? You've learned some things. If you're listening right now,
You've learned today.
You've learned some things about me. Hey, but but it's nice having that support system.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
I'm very blessed. I'm probably one of the luckiest people I know. I know so many people whose family or partner or whoever doesn't agree and has either outed them or disowned them. And I mean, it's like if I'm already out, who's gonna out me? Who's gonna stop me?
Yeah.
So I just kind of had to make that decision for myself. If I'm gonna show my face, if I'm gonna have tattoos, if I'm gonna be out there. I was already naked in front of thousands of people. It's like, what can you do to me?
I know, like, showing your face in your ad, was that a big... Did you do that the whole time, or was it...
Yes. I thought about it at first, but I was just like, so many people from my small town already know that I was a stripper. They already have seen my nude shoots I've done. They know that I've done... performances where, I'm covered in blood and screaming and they're lighting me on fire or whatever. So it's just like, okay, well, there's no going back from that.
Yeah.
It's like, once you're out, you're kind of out. So I was like, I've never really conformed with normal society. Why start now?
Yeah. I was listening to this podcast and they were talking about, like how, like, just, like, showing your face, I feel like if more... I guess, like, almost empowered by doing it, because, like, it's like, no one can fucking... Because if you have your pictures and the pictures are covered, then someone could still, like, out you. But it's like, I'm doing this thing, like, this is who I, like,
Yes.
felt, like, empowered by it.
But, I mean, there are certain challenges that come with both. So, knowing this, I mean, there is a job that I want in my civilian life very badly, and I'm going to school, and I'm trying to make it happen. And I mean, there's going to be a point when I'm sure someone's going to come to me and be like, hey, so what about this? Or they Googled me.
Yeah.
Or something. But I've never had a personal Facebook. I had one, like, in high school and college, and it's gone. But, I mean, even when I had it, people still tried to dig it up and find it.
Really?
From back in the day, because you couldn't delete it. And I was just like, whatever. I mean, I've had other jobs where people have taken my reviews from TER and actually faxed them to my job and tried to get me fired. But
Jesus
they ran
fucking...
background checks and stuff on me, and they're like, you're legit. You're a good person. Like, we're not going to fire you. Someone's trying to blackmail you.
Fuck.
And I was like, yeah, I probably know who that person is.
That's fucked.
But, I'm just going to have to keep kicking ass every day and just... being unapologetically
haters gonna hate.
Yeah,
haters gonna hate.
I'm gonna have to just be myself and own it. Fuck. One way or another.
Hell yeah. I know you mentioned like you're independent. You've done like Bunny Ranch stuff. Is that like, I guess it's like an agency kind of? Is that the same kind of thing? Like
it's more strict than an agency for sure. A lot of people have mixed things to say about that, and a lot of people had odd things here and there to say about Dennis before he passed away. But
good old Hoff.
Oh yeah.
How was did you meet him?
I did. He wanted to date me.
Really?
I was small and blonde, of course, but I already had a boob job that ticked one box off for him. He usually buys them a boob job, a Louis bag, and a car, and then after that, if they break up, he was like, talking all that shit.
The Hofster.
I was like, I'm not down for that. I didn't want to be famous for this, and now I'm like, fuck it. But I was about to get married, so I had an engagement going. I was just trying my luck. I was just out on a rampage. And so he was like, you should stay here. You should, get an apartment here and, you should stay. And I was like, no, I can't do that. And once I friend zoned him, he like put me at an arm's length. But we had many nights where we hung out in the kitchen and we talked heart to heart, just real stuff. I like to pick people's brains.
Okay.
So as like one of the top business owners, I was just asking him all kinds of questions about his life and what made him want to do this and how hard it is. And, anything he wanted to tell me. So we'd go to dinner or sit in the kitchen or whatever. But I was on his arm for a little bit, a couple weeks, and, didn't want that for myself. I did not want to go on, like, TMZ or, like, be on any of that stuff, or go on a Twitter battle.
Was there like I remember seeing Cat House when it came out, right?
Oh, that's what made me want to do it.
That shit was awesome.
And I applied once when I was 19, and I chickened out. I got accepted, chickened out, and so then I was working at a spa, and we're all sitting around, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I should apply again.
Yeah.
So I sent in my application, and Madame Suzette's like, hey, can you be here like by Friday? And it was like Wednesday. and I had just enough money to get my ticket and everything and get out there. And I was like, yeah, I'll be there.
Nice. Do you
YOLO.
stay there? Do you stay at the
You
bunny
stay
ranch?
at the ranch. You have a 2-week period where either you make it or you don't. And I was like, I can leave for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
My boss hated it, but I was just like, fire me if you want to. I'm going to go try this.
Yeah.
I was tired of, not taking chances. But yeah, for 2 weeks you're there, and if you want to stay longer, if you work out, if you're actually a top earner and you can do well out there, then they'll either like set you up with housing there or somewhere nearby, and
Okay.
you can either decide if you want to move there or not. A lot of women that work there, they live locally somewhere nearby and just drive in for their shifts and then drive home. Like you have a 12-hour shift, and they work their shift and go home. And some of them live there full time.
The Madame Suzette, right? Is she like? I don't know why I got the vibe that she was like his wife or something. What's the?
No, they weren't married, but they are business partners as far as I know. And there was a rule, I think, in that state where you can't be a male owner. Like you have to have a female operator, manager for brothels. I guess it was just like a maybe an old-timey law. I don't know if it's even still in effect or if I'm even, correct on that, but I'm pretty sure that most of his stuff had to be, female-owned and operated as far as the law went. I'm not sure how that works, but they were very close, but I don't believe they were married.
Okay. You like?
She said I talk too much.
Really?
She's right.
This is a good time, though.
She's like, you talk too much.
Madam Suzette, if you're listening to this, fuck you. But also, hey,
She's
plug the
got
podcast.
A lot of good work advice.
She seems super cool. She seems super cool, honestly.
Her game, and she has no tolerance for nonsense, no bullshit.
I could definitely see that.
So, I mean, I actually learned a lot about, not accepting bullshit.
From her?
From her.
That's awesome.
Just people will do what you allow.
Yeah.
And just don't even give them a chance.
What do you think the biggest thing you've learned doing all this has been? Like, is there...
Let's see. Just be real with yourself. Like, you're going home to you and only you at night.
Yeah.
Whether you have a partner, whether you've got kids, whatever you're doing, you have to look at yourself in the mirror. Don't do things that you're going to regret and you're going to be ashamed of, because you're the only one that has to live with it.
Yeah, nobody else.
That's why I was like, I'm not going to do anything that I'm afraid of people knowing, because it's like, it will come out, or I'll have to face myself eventually if I'm doing a bunch of things that are against my limits, I'm pushing my own boundaries. So I had to be really firm with myself.
Yeah. What, I know you said at the beginning, right, screening, it was like really non-existent.
It was non-existent for me for 3 years, almost 3 years.
Yeah, now, like, you're screening...
I do screen, yes. Okay. And I would be a whole lot richer if I didn't, but I'd probably also be dead. It's difficult.
Yeah.
Ever since the whole Craigslist killer came about and all that stuff, I really had to figure it all out. It's just like, what is this worth? But that was about the same time that I had people step up and say, hey, do you need help with the screening thing?
Yeah, because, I mean, the screen... Yeah, you got to know who you're...
Definitely.
So you need to, like, will you have to get someone's, like, name before, like, you'll see them?
I take their full ID and legal name with their photo. It has to be current. It can't be expired. And then I run that to make sure that and their current photo don't pull up someone else's identity, because some guys try to use someone else's LinkedIn or someone else's identity, and it's like, they're pretty much like, screw that guy. But if they're willing to screw over another man, they're willing to, do just about anything as far as I'm concerned. They just have no respect for society. So they don't have any respect for me. If they lie to me, they don't respect me.
Yeah.
And most people are very forthcoming and they're cool with it. They're like, oh man, like, I had a couple speeding tickets or I got caught with weed. And I'm like, I don't care about that.
Yeah, that's not...
I care about, like, if you kick puppies or if you run over grandmas or if, like, you have domestic violence or something. Like, that's what I care about.
Yeah.
It's just like, and I'm probably more lenient than I should be with the blacklists, because some people will blacklist over anything and everything, and I respect them, and I like that I can actually read through all the comments on what people say about clients, but some stuff is, it takes a lot for me. It's like, you have to do something pretty offensive to me, like, you have to lie to me during screening, or short me, or try to do something physical during... luckily for me, I have only had maybe one sketchy incident, and it was a P401 client.
Oh, really?
Yes, which is why I stopped trusting that as my complete source for screening. And even Gina was like, hey, if you trust this as your only screening, then you're pretty much you're dumb.
Oh, shit, okay.
So I was like, oh, well, I should probably do a little more research on these people.
Yeah.
So I've lived and learned.
I know referrals will play a part too in the whole like screening process. Do you accept referrals from other providers, or how does that?
I used to, and I don't mind if people throw it in as extra, but I need real world information because even Hitler had friends.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody can be nice to one person, and
Yeah.
the people who dead men tell no tales, basically. Yeah. So it's like the next girl won't be so lucky.
Yeah.
And I mean, it could be a friend of his or hers. They could have blackmailed someone for a reference. Anything could happen now. So after that, I'm just like, yeah, no.
I still need
to do a little more research.
Yeah. Nice. I mean, yeah. Where do you advertise now, man?
Currently, I am on Trist and Private Delights. Twitter is my main bag. Really love it.
Twitter's since starting the podcast, Twitter's popular for it, and
it's great.
Yeah.
I can be myself, and whoever doesn't like it can go away, or I draw in people, and they can either sit back and chill and see if they like me or not.
Yeah.
It gives them a chance to see if we're compatible or not.
What do you think your favorite? Do you have a favorite website to advertise on?
I still like P411.
Yeah.
Because it does have the questionnaire, and I'm really liking Trist and Private Delights. I haven't really gotten anything from there, but I like the layout a whole lot.
Okay.
So I like that, and the fact that Private Delights, I don't like reviews, but these are actually tasteful love notes.
Yeah.
It's feedback, but if you're gonna have
it's
feedback about someone, it's honest and to the point.
Yeah.
It's
so
not erotica.
You mentioned reviews. I like to talk about reviews.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the whole review culture?
Well, as someone who looks at the reviews of every Amazon product I buy, every hotel I stay at, every restaurant, every club that I'm going to go to, I read it all, but I take it all with a grain of salt because someone else's point of view could have just been they were having a bad day or whatever. So, I mean, I think that feedback is important, especially if you're running your own business, but I don't think that the extra fluffy details are important at all.
Yeah.
It's just I'm not going to do the same thing with the next person that I did with you, so why do you care?
That makes sense.
And it's there's very key details, was this person legit? Was their space safe? Did you feel safe and comfortable? Did you get what you came for?
That's really, I feel like, that's really all you need in the review.
It's that's all you need to know.
That's.
I mean, some people just love to kiss and tell. And tell, and tell, and tell.
Some motherfucker. God.
I think they just like to make up details on their own. It's they're just living out some kind of personal fantasy. Even the ones that are revenge, it was they focus a lot on the provider either being older than she looked, or one of them was recently oh yeah, this guy said that my kids were there and that would never happen. And I was this guy has obviously got some sort of weird fetish. It's kind of like the guys who are my girlfriend wants to blackmail me, or the guys pretending to be the girlfriend, we want a threesome. It's just dude, you typed this with your dick. There's no way.
Oh my God.
You were just trying to live out some sick fantasy. Please stop.
Jesus Christ.
It's gross. Dudes.
Hey, if you like to leave fake reviews out there, hey, fuck you, and subscribe to the podcast. Please, we need it.
All of my fake ones have been good, though.
They're good.
But they're too good.
They're too good.
These are all 5-star, perfect, but they pretty much copied and pasted what everyone else said about me.
Okay.
And then the details that they're supposed to fill in on their own are wrong.
Is this like Erotic Monkey or something like that?
Yes.
Or? Okay.
And I still tolerate that.
People do that for the free membership.
That's what I thought. I was there's got to be some incentive here, or otherwise they wouldn't.
When you leave if you give somebody if you don't have a premium membership, if you leave somebody a membership, you get a free premium membership for a week.
Lame.
Yeah.
I don't think sites should give any incentive on either end.
No.
It should just be
straight up. It should be just pay the money and then you can see a review.
Or pay to advertise.
Yeah.
If you're a provider. Don't be trying to get reviews and thumbs ups.
For sure.
It's stupid.
Who's your average clientele, you think? You have a demographic that sees
it's been changing, but I don't know, it's pretty consistent. Do you mean age-wise or
I guess
their lifestyle?
I guess age-wise, I'd say.
Well, I don't see younger people. I tend not to. Mostly because I'm afraid I'm going to run into somebody my own age. So I prefer 35 and up.
Okay.
But most of them are in their 40s to 60s.
Okay.
Some of them in their 70s.
Nice. Have you ever developed like feelings for a client at all? Ever? Has that ever happened?
Once.
Once.
Only once. Once was all it took. We still have a pretty great relationship though, so I mean, it's sad. I had to, I tell everyone this. I'm like, you either have to dismiss them as a client.
Yeah.
You can't accept their money anymore because it's personal at that point, or you have to, as a client, wife her and take care of her the rest of her life if that's what you're looking for. Like,
okay.
You better be good on your word. But with this, it was just like I had to dismiss him as a client, even though it was going great.
Yeah.
I was just like, I got in my feelings.
Yeah.
And I would rather not cause anybody's life any drama or anything. Like, I would never do that. But, most people were like freaked out.
Yeah.
And I was freaked out because I'm just like, out of all this time, I've kept things very separate. We can be friends. That's great. But pretty much as soon as you give anyone any time off the clock, they're either going to never pay you again or it's going to start to get weird. And I invited him out on a sushi date. It was me. I did it. And he turned me down, but then he came back and we actually like dated and, But I couldn't take his money anymore. He would try to make an appointment. I said no.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Yeah. What in terms of dating and relationships, is that hard to do working?
It's never hard to get a date.
Yeah.
It's hard to find people who are confident in themselves and comfortable with the lifestyle and they're honest about it. Because some people will say, oh yeah, cool, I'm good with that. I'm fine with whatever.
Yeah, and
then they either want your money or they want you to quit. They want you to quit for them. And they want to try to steal you away and keep you in a cage, basically in the house. They want to turn you into a housewife and keep you for the rest of their days. But that doesn't ever work out.
You heard that here. It never works out.
You get the best of us when you get us in session.
Yeah.
But when you try to make us into a girlfriend or a wife or something, you have to deal with our bad days. You have to deal with our real side, any emotional drama that we have,
Because it's not good all the fucking
whatever.
time.
You get it all. You get everything at that point. It's like some people are not ready for that.
They're like, wait, you what? No, what?
It's not a sleepover with your best friend every night.
Yeah.
It's gonna be weird.
Wait, you have a headache? How's that possible?
Oh, you're human? Oh no.
What?
Whoops. But as far as like maintaining relationships, if you're with someone who's honest with themselves and they're honest with you and they're already confident, they already have their own life, they already have their own hobbies, and they have no discrimination against, seeing providers or going to strip clubs or anything like that, then you're good. You can make it work.
Nice. Heck yeah. What, does attraction play a role at all in seeing anybody when you're...
Never.
Yeah.
I don't go for looks. I go for respect and personality, and, I mean... My other love language is money. I love my bank account. Yeah. So it's like, that's important to me. So, I mean, if you're willing to pay my full rate and you're willing to take a shower and hang out with me, I'm down. I love dating professionally. So, always good with that.
Since starting, has your views on sex changed at all?
When I first started, it was mostly because I was a horny young woman and I was getting out of my first adult serious relationship with a fiance, and I wasn't good at it. I don't think I was good at it. I'd only been with 2 people. Okay. So I guess I had something to prove to myself. Yeah. I didn't kiss. I didn't do the cuddling and holding hands and all that stuff. I didn't kiss mostly because I thought I would be bad at it. I didn't have enough experience at it. So when I finally started adding the GFE thing and kissing, people were like, oh man, oh yeah. And I was just like, oh, you don't hate this? Yeah. So I started like pushing more, opening up more for myself and, trying to study new techniques and get better at it. And so overall, I went from being not really prude, but insecure to just being fully myself, like in the bedroom or, on a date, whatever. So my views on sex have changed only within myself. I've never thought sex was a bad thing. I've never slut shamed or, hated on anyone who loved sex or hated sex or just didn't have any interest or any opinion on it. But I was like, you do you.
Yeah, and
But
I'm gonna do.
I'm
Yeah.
doing me a lot better now. So,
Fuck yeah.
yeah.
What do you think your views on men have changed at all since starting?
I want to say no, but that's not true. Um, I used to have a little bit of bitterness. I used to think, any guy would cheat given the opportunity and the right woman coming along or the right person catching their eye in general. But men are very predictable creatures of habit. Like,
Yeah.
they like what they like, and they are, they have very different needs than women do, and they're
Okay.
basic needs that, they're going to have them met one way or another. So, I respect them. I respect men for, especially men who are honest enough to go out and seek that in a way that's healthy and, comfortable.
Yeah.
And, they're not aiming to hurt anyone. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone does at some point hurt somebody. But, yeah, people think that I hate men. But I was like, I love men. I love being a woman in a man's world, like, for real. So, I mean, if anything, it's taught me more about men. It
Okay.
hasn't really changed my views on them. They're always going to be little wild dogs, but there's something a lot more dignified and sexy when you understand them and you understand how their minds will always work the same way.
We're all the same.
They're all about the same. They all have the same drive and interests in the things that motivate them. So with women, you never know. It's going to be chaotic and unpredictable. Can't please them.
It's hard.
Not all of them at once, anyway, and not for very long at a time. Short attention span.
What I know. Oh yeah. So every time I always ask everybody about STDs because I feel like that's
That's fair.
What how often do you get tested?
Every 60 to 90 days, whether I need it or not.
Okay. Sweet.
No more than 90 days goes by.
Is there a way to tell if someone's clean when you're seeing them? Is there a way to tell?
No, and that's why using a condom is always top priority.
I did an episode with Kennedy on like a couple days ago, and she mentioned guys like trying to not use condoms or be like, I'm clean. Is that a lot? Does that happen?
It only happens with men who have a very high opinion of themselves and
Okay.
a very low danger mechanism in their brain.
Yeah.
And I was like, guys who think themselves important, they don't want to screen already. They already think they're top dog. They think they don't need a condom. They think they're fit and like attractive and hot, and that's gonna keep them from getting an STD somehow. I don't know, but and then some of them are like,
There's no way.
I'm hot. There's no way. It's just like, this has nothing to do with how hot you are, how often you bathe.
Yeah.
If you're sexually active, you need to be tested and you need to use condoms.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, well, I'm clipped. There's no way I can have babies. And it's like,
What?
ding dong. Most of us already have that covered on birth control.
Yeah, dog, we ain't having your
aren't worried
fucking
about
baby, bro.
babies. We're worried about you ruining our reputation and our business and making us ill.
Because, too, you don't
A lot
like...
of people don't show symptoms of things, too.
Yeah.
So you just don't know. You can't look at someone and tell.
And a guy, too, also, that you got the factor of reviews, too. This guy could go online and then fucking be like, yeah, we didn't use condoms.
My wiener burned up and fell off because this girl.
Fucking...
But it's just like, how often have you been going around without wearing a condom? So...
Yeah.
But yeah, most of us can't take 2 weeks off on an antibiotic, because we had an incident or, we took a risk. And it's like, no one is worth that risk.
No.
And even if it's only a couple of weeks on antibiotics, it could be, a lifelong thing that you have to deal with. It could be anything.
Yeah.
So, not worth it.
How do you, female condoms? You ever use those?
I love them. Yes, I love FC2s. They're really fun. Especially...
What's FC2? What's that?
It's the female condom.
Okay.
It's the ones that I like anyway. It's sort of like a turkey bag. It's real crazy. It's awkward. They are awkward to use.
Magic. I did an episode with Magic. She gave this to me. Have you ever seen
That's
this?
a soft cup for like the cervix.
I don't
That is for periods.
That's for periods? Okay.
Well, if you have one, some people are like, oh, I can totally tell. It's like, you can't tell. You can tell.
Yeah, I never seen anything like that.
It doesn't feel any different than a girl who has maybe like a Nuva ring or something in. But with the FC2s, they're about that round. They're about the same roundness as that. Diameter anyway. Roundness. I'm dumb. But yeah, they're made out of the same material. I think they're hypoallergenic. But yeah, they go inside, and I just use like a vibrator to get it in the right way that I want it.
Okay.
And it's really fun whether you're with, women or
Nice.
non-conforming people. I don't know if they want to say non-binary. Yeah, anyone.
Yeah.
Anyone and everyone can
With
use
anybody.
them. And it's great for people who have sensitivity issues. So, like, if they lose their ability to
Oh,
keep an
yeah.
erection because
Seen
their
it.
condom desensitized them, it's perfect.
Damn,
'Cause,
nice.
You know, they don't have to wear one. Just lube up and dive in.
Then you just gotta watch a YouTube video to figure out how to put that thing in.
It's complicated.
Like, I got this thing, but I don't know what I'm doing.
That's the first time I opened it. I was like, "Wow, what?"
The fuck?
It was just like a windsock.
Yeah.
I was like, "What do you do with this?" I was like, "Surely that doesn't go in there."
Yeah.
But
Apparently it does.
it worked out fine. It just took some practice.
Fuck yeah. In a session, do you feel pressure at all to live up to like clients' expectations at all?
It depends. When I was lower end and, you know, didn't charge very much, I felt like those were the people who were trying to get the most bang for their buck. They were pushy, they were rude, they didn't appreciate what they had. And then there's the other end of the spectrum where it's like the higher up you are, if you're that $1,000, $1,600, $2,000 an hour girl, they're going to expect you to be very well educated, have a passport full of stamps, you know, a high rise in Manhattan. They're going to expect things of you. So you're going to have to live up to that. So I'm very comfortable in the middle ground, and I can't please everyone. I'm sure, I mean, I had a Fly Me To You weekend, my first ever one, and I'm pretty sure that guy was disappointed. He had expressed that he wanted more and, you know, things that didn't happen, and I was like, I'm not a mind reader.
Is that like after?
After, yes.
Damn.
And so I felt really bad, and for a little while I didn't even want to do those again. I definitely won't do one with someone I've never met at this point. But I was just like, you know, damn, I could have done better. But I'm not a mind reader. No one is. So if, like, you have expectations during session, it's good to kind of talk it out and to look for someone who is into the things you're into.
I think that might be where, like, I guess Twitter can kind of play. Because I mean, I can kind of go on someone's website and I can kind of get a feel for who they are. But I feel like with Twitter, like, even though a lot of Twitter is bullshit.
But their persona is who they want to be in session.
Yeah, so you can kind of get an idea about who they are, just like
where they like to eat, where they like to shop, where they like to stay, their favorite cities, whether they're into BDSM or whether they're going to give you a lap dance, if they like lingerie, if they like a sundress. You know, how we are is how we are.
Yeah, so you can kind of know that just like based on that, and I feel like that'll...
I mean, I do like the challenge of, you know, changing it up. I always, from now... I mean, it's been a few years, but yeah, I always carry a passport and a bag of lingerie and, you know, different things. More toys. It was never toys before, but, you know, I was just like, I want to be prepared for pretty much anything. I don't want to disappoint someone and then be like, oh. Yeah. But there's some things I'm just not into. And I had a regular client that I really liked. Actually cancel an appointment with me because we couldn't do Greek. And I'd already said I wouldn't, and I might consider it my personal life someday. Yeah. And he was just like, if we saw each other enough, I guess he thought maybe it would happen. But I was just like, I just don't. And so he was like, yeah, I gotta go. Damn. And I finally heard from him not too long ago. So I guess he's over
the whole Greek.
The butt hurt.
Yeah. You got butt hurt over no butt stuff.
Yep. Sad but true.
That's funny.
But I'm glad because we didn't go through the session and him leave very disappointed. But usually if it's something I'm not into, I'll refer them to someone who is. Okay. Or if I'm on like a hiatus or, you know, not interested, then I will try to refer them to someone in the industry in general or locally that will be able to do that. So everyone deserves happiness.
Definitely. I met my first male escort recently.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was, and I felt that before going into it that like I felt like anxiety a little bit because I felt like with female escorts there's reviews. I can kind of tell if there's a reputable person.
It's so hard to find non-binary and male providers.
Yeah, so I was kind of like I was kind of nervous going into it because I didn't know what to expect or anything. Do you have anxiety when you're meeting somebody new, going to somewhere
There's always a little bit, but I think that's part of what adds to the hype for me. Okay. Is just, I mean, that little element of not knowing if it's going to be good or not. It's just sort of like pre-show jitters, I guess. Yeah. I just get really anxious, and I hope that I do my best. But I think it works on both ends. You're meeting a stranger. There's not supposed to be
Yeah.
automatic comfort. I mean, going up to the door, you're always going to feel that way. It's a natural human fight or flight response that you're dealing with.
It is. What do you think I know you've been doing it for a while. What do you think your biggest challenge is currently?
Currently, not running my mouth. I want to talk all that shit because I get so many time wasters and just weirdos in my inbox.
Yeah.
With the you avail, you up, how much.
Do you get you up a lot?
I
Is that
do.
like really?
Like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. And even if I am up, it's like, I don't know you.
Yeah.
And back when I was a teenager, I'd have been like, hell yeah, I'm hopping in the car. We're going to do something weird.
Yeah.
But now I'm just like, I kind of want to live.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's like I want to blast everybody on Twitter. And I will eventually take down the ones that I do roast.
Yeah.
And I don't put their information out there, but it's like I get so many of them. I'm considering getting like an assistant just so I don't have to look at it because it's what infuriates me the most. But ever since, these new laws, everyone's just been thrown out into like the pool, the general population.
Yeah.
So there used to be places where you could find the good clients, and then there were the mid-level people, and then the people who didn't know what they were doing, and they were just calling every number they found.
My buddy lives in LA, and like he's been kind of trying to see an escort for a little while, so he'll like kind of like talk to me about it whenever he's gonna do it, and then he sent me a screenshot. He messaged her. In his first message, he was like, "Hey, how does this work?"
Oh no.
And I'm like, "Bro."
I mean, sometimes I just take pity because I'm like, some people really just don't know and they don't have anyone to ask. So I try to be more patient than I've ever been. But I don't feel like every person that contacts me is actually new. A lot of people say they are, but there are some of them I'm like, you've done this. You're just being weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, that sucks.
That's why I got I was like, dog, this isn't going to work.
There are forums, I think, where you can go and look up like how to approach.
Well, I mean, that's how I think on the sex workers Reddit, there's like how to get an escort thing, and I'll do
there's etiquette.
I'll do a solo episode on how to get an escort.
That would be amazing. People really need that.
People find out.
They need it from a guy's perspective too, and that nervousness and not sure how to say it.
Yeah, because I mean, I really didn't know anything. Like literally, I googled Raleigh escorts when I first started.
That's the best bet. But then approaching them is totally different because everyone has a different level of response. To whatever you put out there.
And but I mean, I feel like they'll kind of say how they want to be contacted, like phone calls, text, email. So.
People still keep putting my number out there somehow. I still keep getting weird calls and texts, even though I've taken all of that off. I guess because it's on my Twitter header and my my business card that I posted on there. But it's I don't get a whole lot of that now that it's not on like Erotic Monkey or anything like that.
Okay, nice.
Some people would call me like 6 times back to back to back, and it's like, I'm not answering you.
I saw somebody posted on Twitter the other day. It was like a missed call thing. This dude called her like 28 times. It's like, bro.
Desperate boner emergency.
Bro.
Real fast. I need it real fast.
What is she going to say when she sees her phone, dude?
I mean, you shouldn't call anyone that many times in a row unless it's an emergency.
I guess, it's like
you're dying.
Yeah. That's just going to be like,
man.
What the fuck, bro? Like,
I was like, your dick emergency does not constitute me rushing or changing my policies.
Yeah. Definitely not.
Ever.
That's where you fucking slip. Yeah. You can't be you got to constant vigilance.
But as soon as they like watch some porn and jerk off, that all goes away. Like, they've changed their mind completely.
It's amazing how that works.
Yes. Their sense eventually comes back.
You're like, oh, wait a second. Fuck.
They look at all those you up texts like, oh, that wasn't me. I'm a child of God now in the cold light of day. That was me last night.
What have I done? I don't know if I called somebody 28 times if I could ever contact them again.
No.
With a good conscience.
You definitely could not.
I couldn't.
Even if it was just,
even if it was my friend for like a long time and I called him 28 times.
They would be like, I hope you got your leg cut off or something. Why'd you call me? Are you in the hospital?
They'd be like, I was just seeing what you're up to. God damn it.
They'd be like, I'm blocking you.
Fuck. What do you think? In terms of escorting, what do you think has helped you? Like, how has escorting helped you in other aspects of your life, or has it helped you in other aspects of your life? You feel like?
Well, I had to learn how to do background checks and how to build websites, how to do admin, you know, how to pose better as a model and what people are looking for in those photo shoots. I mean, it's just made me have a lot more business sense. I've had to do a lot of research on how to do my own taxes and how to, you know, advertise, how to build an ad anyway.
Yeah.
And, you know, how to travel not only on a budget, but on like a high enough end to where I'm worth the money people are paying for me.
Oh, okay, nice.
You know,
Yeah.
what matches that. And, you know, having to build a whole persona online and maintain it, having to maintain a reputation.
I feel like that's impressive. The building.
A decade.
Yeah.
The real OGs are the people who did this without internet. No
Yeah.
internet, just like a beeper and like
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, I know a few ladies who did used to use, you know, not yellow pages, but they had to use
Like a phone
payphones
book.
and
Oh, shit.
a beeper. Or they had a bag phone, the first bag phones. Or they used to work in casinos and just freestyle it and stuff.
Fuck.
And I was like, that takes a lot of guts.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of effort and a lot of rejection and a lot of risk. So, I mean, people are like, oh, it's so hard, even with the internet. It's like, think about
Yeah. Before.
you don't know if you're soliciting a cop. You don't know who you're talking to.
Yeah. At
You don't
all.
know if this is going to be your last call. You don't know anything.
And you, I mean, this
the
not even
internet,
like a
you have
cop.
kind of
This could be a
firewall
fucking murderer.
between you and the general population. So you can kind of make a decision.
Fuck.
Kind of go with your instincts on that.
What I know burnout could be a thing in any job. How do you make sure that or how do you stay fresh or make sure that doesn't happen? And has it happened before?
I book a flight and leave the country. I get out. My phone doesn't work overseas because I haven't upgraded to anything that does, and I love it.
Nice.
So I will take anywhere from 3 days to a week just out.
Nice.
Before that, I used to just smoke a bunch of weed, put on Netflix, order a pizza, and turn my phone off for days.
That's exactly what I did.
Take some baths,
on the night of
drink
the
some
election.
beers. But I think this is a lot healthier if I go on a hike or if I just,
Yeah.
you know, go on a camping trip. I don't know, get on a flight and go party in another country with some people I don't know.
That sounds fun.
It's nice. It works.
Do you? I always like to ask. Do you have any advice for, say, like any clients that are going to see anybody? Do you have any advice for any clients?
If you're new, just go ahead and get the screening out of the way first. Just go ahead and present your information and offer a deposit. That will get you in the door pretty much every time.
Okay.
Whether she takes deposits or not, she'll tell you. That's it.
Sounds like good.
When you get there, either be showered or be ready to shower. Most women just don't believe you showered.
Yeah.
And if you do shower, please use the soap and use it real well.
Yeah.
If you want somebody to, like, lick your body.
Yeah.
Any part of your body.
Shower. Take showers. We're a pro shower here at the Full Service Podcast.
Smelling good goes a long way.
Yeah.
But not covering up, like, the stank. Gotta hit it with soap.
Yeah. Soap is.
That's all we really care about. That and making sure the donation is correct.
Yeah.
That's it.
What about any advice for anybody looking to like get into escorting?
You can't be easily embarrassed or ashamed or afraid. You're either gonna have to be in it to win it, or you're gonna have to sit back and observe. Don't be afraid to, you know, ask for some help or do some reading first.
Yeah.
Because this is not for everybody. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of guts, a lot of long hours. It's not easy. And, you know, you're going to have to ask yourself, like, if my family's not cool with it, if my husband's not cool with it, my kids, whatever, am I willing to do what I got to do? Or am I doing this because this is something for me? And if I'm outed, I'm outed.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you're easily embarrassed or afraid of rejection or having every inch of your body inspected and talked about, it's probably not for you.
Yeah.
You know, and no one has to be perfect. I was like, people have talked about how god-awful my ass is and how I got a lopsided titty or something. I don't know. But I'm just like, I love me enough for both of us.
Yeah.
All of us. So if you love yourself, then if you love yourself and you love money, come at me.
Yeah.
We can be friends. I can help you.
Fuck yeah, you heard it here first, guys. What you got anything? I always like to end on something funny. You got anything funny or a good
Oh
story?
God.
You got any...
Funny things. Um,
Or it could be like the
put me on the
craziest thing you
spot.
ever seen.
Crazy stuff that I've seen. I recently went to a very awesome event. It was very private, and some friends were getting in this latex cube
Okay.
and having the air sucked out. It was a BDSM thing. And
I've seen like the like almost like you're in like a rubber like vacuum
it's
chamber,
a vacuum bed, but
and then
it's
they get the
cube.
mouth.
Yeah. But their head and neck were out. But I mean, the way that it ended up making a great target practice for some people for water sports.
Nice.
And one guy couldn't perform, so at the end, guy gets out of the cube and like they hug it out, and he's like, "Sorry, I was just I had pee shyness. I'll get you next time, bro." And they just like hugged it out, and I think that was just like the most wholesome BDSM experience I've had so far lately.
Bro, I want to pee on you so bad,
I
but I
wanted to
couldn't.
so bad, and he was like, "No worries, man. I love you." And it was so wholesome. But yeah, I'm in such a good place right now that you actually caught me at a good time in my life.
Nice.
I'm in a wonderful relationship, and I'm very happy. And my friend who is overseas with her family, she's actually let me kind of be a stand-in for her kids,
Oh,
which is
sweet.
a lot of responsibility, and it's a lot of trust. And I have a lot of people that trust me right now, and
Okay.
my clients trust me a lot. And I'm just very thankful.
That's awesome.
I'm very happy. I'm very blessed. Very thankful.
Fuck yeah.
So good. Every day's a good day.
Thanks for coming on to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Do you want to plug yourself? Tell the people where they can find you, or they'll
I'm on the Twitter for sure.
the Twitter.
Your GF Alexis R.
You're GF Alexis R.
I'm there every day, all day.
Fuck yeah. You heard it here. Alexis, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thanks. You're awesome.
And listeners, fucking like, subscribe, review. Keep listening. That's the most important part. We will see you later. That was my interview with Alexis Reynolds. Shout out to Alexis. Alexis, I appreciate you coming to the podcast. That was a lot of fun. Listeners, that has been episode 6. Episode 6 is in the books. If you haven't already, follow Alexis on Twitter and Instagram. Her Twitter is YourGFAlexisR. Her Instagram is Model Jordan Sin. And I'll put a links to her websites in the Libsyn page. So go check those out. But yeah, thanks to Alexis. That was dope. We'll be back next week, episode 7. I got another interview coming at you. It's going to be hot. It's with Seductive Storm. She is the CEO of Taken by Storm. She's worked as an escort for 18 years. Her company, Taken by Storm, does web design. She does web consulting, marketing. She does screening for people, mentorships, photography. She specializes in SEO, so I'm excited to talk to her about it. It's a dope interview. It's a lot of fun. Thanks for checking out the podcast. Subscribe. Whatever podcast platform you're coming to us for, you just subscribed on that. If you can give a rating, give a rating. If you listen to us on Apple, iTunes, fucking hit us with that 5-star. Write a review. Man, put a smile on my face. Just make me wake up and be like, oh my God, that review was beautiful. But nah, tell your friends, whatever. Tell your pastor. Tell your pastor at church. Tell them, hey, full service. You gotta check this out. Tell everybody. But no, I appreciate you listening. Right to the podcast, Let us know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, what we need to fix. Let us know what's up. fullservicepod@gmail.com. If you want to see a stand-up comedy show, I'll be at the Gaslight in Roswell tomorrow, Wednesday, 8 p.m. It's going to be a lot of fun. Well, no. Thanks for listening to the podcast. This has been episode 6. We will be back next Tuesday, episode 7. I've been Tank Smith. This is Full Service. Later.